Hi, this is Lindsay Moss from the Art of Ed, and I'm here to share with you a new technique that you could use with your students to create a different type of landscape. The materials you need are fairly simple: 2 pieces of paper of identical size, a pair of scissors, some oil pastels, and something to keep your surface clean. So you have your students start out by using a scrap piece, one of these pieces of identical paper, and laying down a nice thick layer of whatever color they'd like to start with for their landscape. I'm going to make a lake, so I'm going to put a nice thick band of blue oil pastel on the paper. Then I'm going to layer the papers one on top of the other, hold my hand down, and then with a single finger start pulling it from one piece to the other. This technique sort of makes it look like there's a reflection in the water, and the students go crazy for this because it's sort of an impressionist version of an outdoor landscape. So once I've got my water, I can move on to other shapes in the landscape. And one great technique is just to go ahead and tear the paper off. And you can tell your students it doesn't matter if they get a straight line or not, because it contributes to sort of the organic feel of the overall piece if they get a bump while they're tearing it. So I'm going to go ahead and make maybe some sand next to my water. We'll do a beach scene and lay the piece again. The same procedure, lay it right across the paper, but this time if my finger's dirty, I'm either going to rub it off on that scrap paper or just use a different finger to pull it down. There's the sandy portion of the landscape. And I'm going to continue with this same technique all the way up, creating the foreground and the middle ground of my landscape picture. I can even use the same torn line more than once if I'm not changing colors. So for example, maybe I'll add a layer here that's grass, and then turn the paper, angle it, to start making some middle ground hills or mountains. One exciting thing about this project is you can also talk to your students about negative space. So they can make a stencil to rub the oil pastel through to kind of enhance the overall look of their project. So for example, maybe I was going to add a sunset. I can go ahead and draw half of the sun and cut out that negative space. And pull down again to create the sun. And then keep the positive space piece to add rays coming off the sun or other interesting details. My favorite thing about this project is once you show the kids this technique, they dream up things you would have never even thought of. I've had kids who've invented, for example, pine trees by cutting out little triangles out of the negative space and using the same principle as though it were a stencil onto the landscape. I've also seen kids get super creative and make volcanoes, thunderstorms. I've seen tornadoes, even dolphins jumping out of the water. This is a project that really ignites their interest, and they're sure to invent something that you've never even thought of. For more helpful tips and tricks, check out theartofed.com.